So on the worksheet for day 6, we're talking about circumference, which uses pi. Um, and so the circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius of the circle. And there's 3 types of problems on the worksheet. The first type is you are finding the circumference given the radius. The second type is you're going to find the circumference given the diameter. And the third type is you're going to find the radius given the circumference. And on the worksheet, I've given you one example of each for you to follow. But let me go through it. So on the first type, finding the circumference given the radius. So you're given the fact that the radius is 4 inches. Well, you know the formula is circumference equals 2 pi r. So you're just going to take that 4 and plug it in for the radius. So you know the circumference equals 2 pi times 4. I'm just putting the number 4 in for r. In the instructions, it says leave your answer in terms of pi. That just means that pi kind of goes along for the ride. You don't change pi to a number. You don't change it to 3.14. You just leave it as pi. So I'm just going to multiply those two numbers together. So 2 times 4 is 8. So my answer is 8 pi, and the units would be inches because this unit is inches. So that's how you would do the first type. That's how you find the circumference given the radius. On the second type, now I want to find the circumference given the diameter. Well, if you remember, the diameter equals 2 times the radius. And because my formula has the radius in it, that's really what I want to find. So if I'm given the diameter equals 12 feet, well, if the diameter is 12 feet, I can plug 12 in for here. So I can say 12 equals 2r, or divide both sides by 2, and I know the radius is 6. So the radius is always going to be half of the diameter. The diameter was 14, the radius would be 7. The diameter was 20, the radius would be 10. If the diameter was 5, the radius would be 2.5. So the radius is always half of the diameter. Now that I have the radius, I can go ahead and plug it back into this formula. Circumference equals 2 pi times 6 because I found the radius was 6. Again, pi is going to be in my answer, so I'm just going to multiply the 2 and the 6 together. So my answer will be 12 pi inches. So the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 12 feet is 2 pi inches. And the third type of problem is you're going to find the radius given the circumference. So now I know the circumference is 12 feet. So again, I'm going to use the formula. I'm always using this formula. I'm going to plug 12 in for the circumference. So I have 12 equals 2 pi r. Well, r is my variable. That's what I want to get alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi. So now on this side, 2 pi cancels out, and I have the radius is 12 over 2 pi. Well, now, though, that's difficult to understand what that means. We don't have a feel for what 12 divided by 2 pi is. So in this case, we're going to substitute 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to put in my calculator 12 divided by 2 times 3.14. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to go 12 divided by, and I need to put my denominator in parentheses, 2 times 3.14, and I'll get an answer, and I'm going to round it to the nearest tenths, which will be 1 decimal place. So my answer is the radius is 1.9. So those are the 3 types of examples on the worksheet. If you have any further questions, let me know.